Welcome to another video from McFatter Tech Musser. If you like these videos, please click subscribe. Hi and welcome back. A recent Wireshark video we talked about how to customize your display columns. For example, adding source port and destination port, adding the HTTP website name, the TLS name, the DNS name. But that can get kind of cluttered, can't it? Well, we're going to take a look at some shortcuts, how to make that a little bit more concise. And then we're going to take a look at how we can use some display filters, some handy display filters to try to find traffic that might be a problem on our network. First off, let's take a look. How can we customize the columns that we've already added? I'm going to right click on my header here and go to column preferences. First thing I'm going to do is I want to shorten source port. So I'm going to simply double click on it and we're going to shorten that to simply SRC. And I'm going to do the same thing for destination port, and we're going to shorten that to DST port. If I look here now, my columns have I've been able to shrink my columns just a little bit. That was efficient. But what about HTTP site name and TLS site name? That takes up a lot of room on my screen. You can combine columns just like you can combine display filters. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to go back to column preferences. We can see here's my two fields, http.host and the TLS handshake, where it pulls it out of that information in our packet, right? Well, if I double click on this, I can copy that. Now, if I come back up here to my HTTP host and I put my mouse at the end, notice it's in green. It likes that. It's the same color coding as we see in our display filter. There's a couple different commands that we can use in our display filters and in here, equals, and, or. We're going to take a look at those in a moment, but I'm going to say or, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a double pipe, two vertical bars, and then I'm going to paste in my command from below. Look, it turned green, it likes it. I'm going to hit enter, it's going to accept it, and now I can get rid of this one. I can remove that because I've combined two columns into one. Now, wherever I see a host name, it's going to just show up. I've got a lot more information back on my screen now. A lot more relevant. You know what? I don't need to see DNS name right now, so I'm just going to uncheck that. Here's my host name that's going to show me either HTTP or HTTPS name, depending on where it's at. There's the client hellos. These are encrypted. Ways to make our view more efficient, right? Okay. Let's move ahead. If we take a look, I'm just going to bring up Notepad. Bring it over here from my other screen. A couple different ways that we can combine information in our display filter. We can use equals. We can use and. We can also use or. So how would we go about doing that? Well, if I want to say that something equals, I can either use equals equals, or I could simply type EQ. You know what? Let's make this a little bit larger on our screen, make it easier. That way I don't have to zoom it later on. How's that? There. So either one of these will work. Equals equals or type EQ. Now, and. Here again, we've got two different ways to represent the and it can be our two and symbols, or we can simply type the word and. That's easy. If I want to do or, I can, just as the example I just used, two vertical bars, Or, yep, you guessed it, type the word or. Any one of those combinations will work. Now there's something else. If I want to exclude something, I could say, I want to see this and not this. I can prefix it with an exclamation point. So I could put something in some filter inside a set of parentheses, and then it won't display that. For example, maybe I add SSDP, and we'll see this example later on. That way it doesn't show any of the plug and play traffic on my local computer. Let's get this off our screen for now. So what are some of the ways that we can take a look at some of this information? Maybe we're looking for something weird going on. Let's take a look at SpamBot. Now I'm not going to actually extract any of this information, or my security software would go nuts here. But if we bring up a PCAP that's got some SpamBot in it, we can see different information. We see a lot of DNS traffic starting out, right? So how do we filter this? Well, one thing we could do is I could type in http.request. That's going to show me just HTTP. Well, there's none there, right? I could say or, and if I'm using Wireshark 2.0, I would do SSL dot handshake. Let's see, type equals 1. You can see the bar turned yellow, gold. It says, yeah, it might work the way you want. Well, I'm on Wireshark version 3. We don't use SSL anymore, right? So I'm going to change that filter to TLS. Now it's green. Wireshark 3 likes that. So now I can see traffic, whether it be an HTTP request or a TLS request. Ways to filter traffic. What if you say, well, I'm also looking to see if there was an HTTP response? Well, I could do or http.response and then another or. And here again, it likes it. Now everything on here is all encrypted, so that's all I see, right? Remember, SSL if you're using Wireshark 2, TLS if you're using Wireshark 3. Let's take a look at a way that we can filter some of this traffic. So I'm going to get rid of that response, and I'm going to put this in parentheses. You see, it likes it. It didn't like it initially, but as soon as I finished the parentheses, it did. I'm going to say and here's, now we're going to exclude that plug and play traffic. Exclamation point, parenthesis, SSDP. And it likes it. In this case, it didn't really make any change, but that gets rid of any local traffic that might be cluttering up your Wireshark view. Now, you can also type that in a different way. That's UDP. So you could type in UDP.port equals 1900. Does the same thing. I like keeping it simple. I'm just going to do SSDP. So this might be an easy way to filter out some traffic for you. Now, let's take a look at something here. Maybe we're trying to find some malicious traffic, right? So we're up here. Let's jump over to a different PCAP. Maybe something's going on. We think maybe it's Emotet. Bad, right? I was just doing another Wireshark lab on Emotet the other day. Here we can start to try to filter out some of that traffic. We can start to see where some of that's coming from, where some of that's going. Right here we see a HTTP. Well, I don't even receive a response. Remember, I don't have that response. Maybe I add that http.response in here so that I can see there it responded. Traffic came back. What came back? Just some Microsoft. Oh yeah, yeah. Lots of different types of information here. Media type. MS Word. HTTP. Download an MS Word document. That might be something you want to look into. Remember, if you've got a capture like this, you can always come up to File, Export Objects, and for example HTTP, and here I could select and save the various attachments, the various types of information that's captured in that packet. Now, valuable little filter we've got there. How could we save that as a filter? Because it's good to have it, but you know what? It might be more valuable to be able to not have to type this stuff in every time. That gets time consuming, right? You know, and even if I copy the filter and type something else, and well, maybe I'm using 3, 4, 5, 6, however many different filters, it gets kind of time consuming to have to type that stuff every time, right? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start off, we've got that http.request. Well, I'm going to get rid of the response up here. And that or. Okay. I'm going to come over here to the right hand side. I'm going to click that little plus symbol. Add a display filter button. You can see your filter right up there. Right there under filtered. I'm going to just simply call this basic. And I'm going to click OK. Now there on my right side, you can see I've got a button that says basic. Let's modify this again. I want to also see some TCP traffic because I want to see a little bit more detail. I want a more granular view of the traffic that's going on. So I'm going to put my mouse here at the end where it says equals equals 1, and I'm going to say or TCP dot flags. Just want to make sure I'm not doing any spelling errors. Equals 0x0002. So TCP flag 2, right? I'm going to hit enter. That gives us one view. So maybe that's, now I can see my HTTP requests that are going out. I can see TLS traffic, and I can see the TCP underlying traffic as well. I'm going to save this. I'm going to click that plus again, and I'm going to call this basic plus. Basic plus TCP. In fact, you know what? I'll put that in there. Got an extra button. See, I already created one of SMB and TCP. Now, let's modify this one more time. HTTP, we've got our TLS handshake 1 or our TCP flag 2. And let's say or DNS, because we also want to see that reach out from the DNS traffic as well. Trying to resolve, where is it resolving to, right? So here again, I can save this. I could call this basic plus DNS and save it. Click OK. And now I've got ways I can just simply click back and forth, being able to change my view instantly without having to type. You say that's all good and well, but maybe we simply want to be able to examine web traffic. We want to see that those websites, but we also want to see HTTP coming back in. Okay, well, I'm going to put that filter back in. We're going to go HTTP dot response, or we'll hit enter. Now we see the responses to the HTTP. I could save this, and I could call it basic plus HTTP. Something different. Different ways. So now I've got the basic here, and I've also got the same basic being able to just add the response back coming back in. Maybe I'm looking for SMB traffic. Well, there's none in this, but that would give it to you right there. Plus it was for a different IP scheme. Different ways to consolidate our display columns. Different ways to display information as we want to see it in our display filter, and how to save our display filters. I hope you found this useful. If you like these videos, please click subscribe, and as I always say, I'll see you in the next lab lesson or lecture. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.